are three kinds of people: the ones above, the ones below, and the ones who fall.
One does not interpret the law, one obeys it!
Once a day, a platform with food will go down. We'll have a few minutes to eat the dish we've chosen.
One meal.
Anything?
Anything?
They wake in concrete hell. A platform descends carrying salvation, but only the top survives. The bottom, they devour each other. Welcome to the Platform 2, where humanity doesn't just die, it rots from the inside out. But what you're about to witness will shatter everything you think you know about. Survival. The Vertical Self-Management Center isn't a prison. It's an experiment in calculated annihilation. 133 levels carved into the earth like a tomb designed by sadists. Each cell houses 2 souls, strangers bound by concrete walls and the suffocating knowledge that someone above them eats while they starve. The mechanism is breathtakingly simple, a platform loaded with enough food to feed the entire facility descends from level 1. 2 minutes per level, 120 seconds to consume whatever remains after those above have taken their fill. The higher your level, the closer you are to God. The lower you sink, the more you understand that hell isn't fire and brimstone. It's watching abundance pass you by. Perempuan awakens on level 24 with no memory of how she arrived. Her cellmate 𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐽 explains the rules with exhausted resignation. Don't take more than your share. Follow the law. Survive the month until the system randomly reassigns your level. The camera lingers on that platform as it creaks downward, groaning metal echoing through the vertical abyss. Roasted meats glisten under harsh fluorescent lighting. Fresh vegetables still wet with morning dew, decadent desserts that would make kings weep. All of it descending past hungry mouths, empty stomachs, hollow eyes that track each passing morsel with predatory intensity. However, the food isn't the true horror. And soon, Perempuan will learn that hunger is not the only weapon inside the shaft. The loyalists call themselves saviors. They enforce the law with religious fanaticism. 1 item per person, rationed portions, calculated survival. 𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐽 preaches their gospel with trembling conviction. If everyone obeys, everyone eats. But mathematics doesn't account for human nature. The barbarians reject the law entirely, their philosophy carved in blood and desperation. Why should the starving show mercy when mercy is a luxury afforded only to the fed? They take what they want, consume until their bellies distend, and let the levels below them rot. Then there are the anointed ones, zealots who worship the system itself, believing their level assignment is divine judgment. They enforce punishments with biblical cruelty, hurling waste and excrement down the shaft, screaming scripture to justify their savagery. 3 ideologies, 1 vertical hell, 0 compromise. Perempuan watches the platform descend day after day, her stomach cramping, her mind fragmenting. She sees men weep over scraps of bread. She watches women negotiate sexual favors for half a chicken breast. She hears the screams rising from below, primal inhuman sounds that communicate what language cannot. On level 180, a child's voice begs for water. The platform passes in silence. But Perempuan is about to discover that survival demands sacrifices no human should ever make. Because when laws collapse, monsters are born. Month 2. Perempuan awakens on level 180. The child she heard begging is real, a boy with eyes, like dying stars, his ribs protruding through translucent skin. Her new cellmate, Sahabat, speaks the law, like prayer, but his hands shake when he portions their meager rations. The platform arrives carrying nothing. Bones gnawed clean, crumbs, the residue of other people's satisfaction, Sahabat suggests. They climb, fighting their way upward, taking food by force. The law only works if everyone follows it, he whispers, his voice cracking with something between rage and revelation. Perempuan agrees, because the alternative is watching that child's light extinguish while. She quotes rules invented by people with full stomachs. At level 100, they encounter resistance. 3. Barbarians blocking the shaft, demanding tribute. 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞 attacks. The fight is brutal, graceless, all. Teeth and desperation, fingernails raking flesh, skulls cracking against concrete. 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 watches. 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐻's face transform from human to animal, his hands closing around a throat, squeezing until vertebrae separate with sounds like branches snapping. She doesn't stop him. Nevertheless, violence has a price that compounds like interest on an unpayable debt, and the system always collects its debts. Level 50. The Anointed Ones send a delegation. Robed figures who speak in tongues about divine justice and earned suffering. You climbed, their leader intones. You broke the natural order. Punishment must be absolute. They seize 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐻 before 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 can react. They bind him to the platform itself, spread eagle across the food, and let it descend. Level by level, inhabitants take their portions, and they take his flesh too. 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 hears his screams rising from below for 3 levels, then silence, then the wet sounds of feeding. The platform returns 12 hours later, empty except for bones and a message painted in blood. The law is absolute. Something inside 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 doesn't break. It calcifies, hardens into diamond-sharp clarity. The system isn't designed to feed people. It's designed to make people grateful for starvation, to transform deprivation into virtue, to convince the dying that their death serves a greater purpose. She decides to burn it all down. Yet revenge requires fuel, and the only fuel available is her own humanity. But vengeance always leaves scars deeper than flesh. On level 30, she finds allies, former loyalists whose faith shattered when they watch their children starve while following every rule. Together, they engineer something unprecedented, mixing paint with the food, industrial pigments scavenged from maintenance supplies, toxic enough to sicken but not kill. The goal isn't murder, it's demonstration. Make everyone suffer equally. Prove that the platform itself is poison, that participating in this system contaminates everyone it touches. As the platform descends, inhabitants sicken in waves, vomiting, convulsions, hallucinations that transform the shaft into a cathedral of screaming. The loyalists blame the barbarian. The barbarians blame the anointed ones. Violence erupts vertically, people climbing, falling, fighting across levels in a cascade of retribution that recognizes no ideology. The system begins to collapse. But 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻's triumph carries a cost she never calculated. Because in the shaft, victories always demand flesh. During the chaos, 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 is caught between levels during a platform descent. The mechanism doesn't stop for trapped limbs. Her arm is crushed between the platform's edge and the shaft. Wall, bones pulverized, tissue compressed into biological paste. She has seconds to decide: lose the arm or lose her life. The knife is dull. Her screams echo through all 333 levels. Blood paints the concrete in arterial sprays. She severs muscle, sinew, nerve, each cut a negotiation with death. The arm falls into darkness. She doesn't hear it land. 𝐬𝐫𝐞 finds her on level 12. He cauterizes the stump with a heated metal plate. The smell of burning flesh mingles with roasting meat from above. 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 doesn't pass out. She remains brutally conscious through every second. Was it worth it? 𝐬𝐫𝐞 asks. She can't answer because she doesn't know. Despite everything, the pit isn't finished, devouring souls. And survival now demands erasing herself entirely. To escape retribution, 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 stages her death. She and 𝐬𝐫𝐞 create an elaborate performance, spreading her blood across level 5, leaving clothing torn and bloodied, crafting evidence of violence so compelling that even the anointed ones believe justice was served. She descends to level 333, the bottom. Here, survivors aren't people anymore. They're biological functions, bodies, sustained by cannibalism and occasional scraps. They don't speak. Language requires a future tense, and the bottom has no tomorrow. 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐻 discovers the child here, that boy whose voice she heard, begging on level 180, somehow still alive, sustained by a will that defies physics. She makes a decision that transcends logic. She will deliver him upward. On the next descent, she places him on the platform, surrounds him with the remaining untainted food, covers him with a cloth that transforms him into a symbol, a living message ascending through the shaft. The boy rises, level by level. Inhabitants witness him. Some weep, others rage. Most simply stare at this impossibility. Innocence ascending through a system designed to devour it. Consequently, the system faces its greatest threat, hope incarnate. But hope always comes at the cost of those who carry it. 𝐸𝐸𝐸 follows the boy's ascent, climbing behind the platform like a shadow trailing light. At level 1, she expects to find the architects, the administrators, the humans who designed this suffering. The level is empty, automated. A kitchen operated by machines that prepare food with industrial efficiency, loading platforms that descend into darkness, serving a purpose understood only by absent gods. Number 1 is in charge. The cruelty isn't personal, it's systematic, architectural, a machine that runs because it was designed to run. The boy reaches level 0, a space above level 1 that shouldn't exist, a realm beyond the system's architecture. 𝐸𝐸𝐸 watches him cross a threshold into light, so bright it erases his silhouette. She cannot follow. She is too contaminated, too transformed. Her humanity was the price of resistance, and she paid it completely. The platform descends empty. The shaft is silent. 333 levels of concrete tomb stretching into darkness. Yet in that silence, something essential survived. And what survives is not redemption, but recognition. The Platform 2 doesn't offer redemption. It offers recognition. This isn't fantasy. It's a documentary, filmed in the future, or perhaps the present, depending on which level you occupy in the vertical. Architecture of global inequality. We live in the shaft, some of us on level 10, watching abundance pass, us by others on level 250, surviving on what trickles down. We tell ourselves stories, that the system rewards merit, that scarcity is natural, that if everyone just followed the rules, there would be enough. Mathematics says otherwise. There is enough food, enough shelter, enough medicine, education, clean water, basic dignity. The platform could stop at every level. It chooses not to. Not because of scarcity, because the system requires stratification to function. 𝐸𝐸𝐸's arm becomes metaphor. What parts of our humanity do we sever to survive within systems designed to extract everything from us? What pieces of ourselves do we sacrifice to climb even one level higher? The boy ascending represents the question we refuse to ask. What happens when innocence confronts power? Does it transform the structure, or does the structure consume it? The film ends ambiguously because there are no answers, only choices. Equally important, it forces us to examine which level we occupy. And in that examination, we see the mirror we tried to avoid. The Platform 2 is an indictment. A mirror held up to civilizations that produce enough to feed the world, twice over while millions starve. Systems that convince the suffering that their suffering is necessary, natural, inevitable. The question isn't what you would do in the shaft. The question is what you do outside it, living in a world structured with the same vertical cruelty. Therefore, the only question remaining is whether you'll climb or whether you'll let the platform pass in silence if you crave more. Dystopian breakdowns that rip apart the systems we pretend don't exist. Hit subscribe, like, and turn on notification. More nightmares are coming.